All right, hello everybody. Oh, it has been a hot fucking minute. All right, hello all of you. I'm Diamond Dust, and as always, happy to see you all here at the table, stream, wherever you might be tuning in from. Happy to see you. And as always, with me for Wireheads is my co-host.
Hello, my name is Emmerron. I'm here again. Like a bad odor that won't quite leave. Yeah, today I mark another year around the sun. So
yeah, it's Emmerron's 31st or 32nd?
33rd.
Oh, 33rd. Okay.
You're so generous to give me that extra year or two, but no. It's 30. It's 33.
Okay, I thought, you were like 31 or something when we, last. Okay.
No. I'm 30. I'm 33 this year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, everybody, make sure you wish Emmerron a happy birthday. Even YouTube, go bother Emmerron even after this. That being said, so. We had a lot of stuff happen. So the reason why we hadn't had Wireheads back once again with the ill behavior. What do you mean back once again with the ill behavior? I don't know, but these past few weeks have been very busy for us. Like what we. Because, I did broadcast from, RinCon for, kind of some stuff we were doing, but didn't really have much more going on. But last week, you had a wedding you had to go to.
Yeah. I did a lot in Chicago. The wedding was one night. We were there from Thursday until very, 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 very early Tuesday this week. And we packed a lot in there. So the wedding was one night of that, and the rest were we went to a family friend's retirement party. We got to meet up with our old neighbors that we used to we had a cottage in Wisconsin from the time I was born, but it was in my father's ownership from a time before he even met my mom, and then we sold it right before he moved out here, back in 2006. And it had been in my father's side of the family since, I think it was my grandmother's father who was the first one that owned it. So my great-grandfather. And then we had to sell it when we moved out here. But we had neighbors there that we met up with one of the days as well. We got to go to a couple of local bars in Chicago near where my aunt and uncle live, who we were staying with. So yeah, we did a lot. We did a lot while I was there. That's where I'm if I'm a little out of it today, it's because I'm still not fully caught back up. I am very much still kind of dazed and working through that.
And also, you had another big accomplishment this week. I don't know if you want to talk about that or not, but small victories.
I'll keep that one DL'd for right now. I need to.
Okay.
You'll trust me. You'll all know when I've got a little more to report where that is concerned, because I've only begun to kind of dive into that as of 24 hours ago. So more to come on that front. It's nothing too crazy that will affect anything we do here on Wireheads or that I do on my channel. It might impact me getting a sinking feeling out as on time as I wanted to, because I haven't, between the last 2 weeks and then stuff that I've got coming up, that might be just a little after Halloween, but it'll be out. It'll be out by the end of next month at the absolute latest. That is my goal with that.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to steal your thunder or anything. I didn't know if you wanted to announce it to the community or not.
Not yet.
That being said, and then the week before, we were prepared. Emmerron and I went down to. I really want to say it just because I find it amusing, but we went down to Tucson, Arizona. We went down to Tucson, Arizona, to the Casino del Sol Resort for RinCon, which is the subject of today, part of today's subject.
Yeah.
Because also, we're going to be talking about kind of our experiences with conventions as well.
Yeah.
And also, there may be some future plans for me where I will probably be making my return to RinCon.
Yeah.
I think it was. I think first things first, like just right out the gate between you and I, RinCon by far. It was busy, but not in the same busy. It wasn't like stressful busy. It felt like.
Yeah, like so. To give everyone an idea of scope here and scale, Gen Con every year is somewhere between 70 and 80,000 people that show up. Now, obviously, not every one of those passes through our game room when we're helping out Artel or. We don't directly interact with that many people, but because the convention is that size, we're firing for 4 days. Each day is like 3 different game sessions for 4 days. And so, in that time, we do 7 sessions individually, to run games. My role has looked a little different in the last 2 years because I've mostly been responsible for running things and like running back end stuff. So like checking people in, gathering, volunteer stuff ahead of time. So like my role has been a little different, a little more removed from the running of games, but it's still very busy for me. So that's Gen Con. PAX U, I believe is it's about half that size. I might be underestimating a little bit when I say that, but I think it's somewhere roughly around 40,000 people.
I can look that up right now.
Yeah, please do. But yeah, my guess is it's probably about 40,000 people. It's a massive convention all the same.
We were looking at, let's see, over 800 vendors. And trying to find that is PAX East. I want PAX U 2024
Unplugged. Try searching as PAX Unplugged.
Yeah. They sold out. And I'm looking here to see what we got for attendance.
Yeah, because I'm like, I know Gen Con solely because they do a pretty good job of like announcing that and saying, here is what it came to this year.
PAX does not report their numbers.
They don't. Okay.
But it is approximated somewhere between, for like last year, somewhere between 40 to 45,000.
Okay.
Attendees.
So I was pretty spot on. Okay, good.
And then looking at the email that we got because we got it from RinCon. We had somewhere between approximately 650 people, but from what I had seen on tickets sold to individuals, we saw a little over 700 people, according to the app that we were using.
Yeah.
So just to really put it there, Gen Con, one of the biggest shows in the in North America, because I imagine Europe's got one.
It is second largest in the world. The only one that's larger is there's a tabletop convention in Germany that boasts, I think when I heard about it last, it's like 120,000 people. But that is the only tabletop convention anywhere in the world that is larger than Gen Con. Gen Con is massive. And so in case you're bad at math, because I know I've been bad at math when my brain shuts off, RinCon is 1% the size of Gen Con. Like, this thing, by comparison, is tiny. It's a single conference center inside a single casino, hotel, resort thing, right? Yep. So it is not very large. That said, it was a lot of fun.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like, to get everyone...
Where do we begin with like, where... Because, I guess for starts, the games that we ran... Because, Emmerron, you and Connor ran Daggerheart.
We did, yeah.
Evan and Connor ran Cyberpunk RED and Cyberpunk Edge Runner's Mission Kit.
Right, yeah.
You and I both ran Shadowscar, and Evan and I ran Curseborn.
Right, yep.
And we only had to do 4 games compared to the 7 that we do for Gen Con.
Yeah, so to give everyone like a full understanding, each of the 4 games that we were given, really it was 4 games. It was 4 games. The
Cyberpunk Curseborn, we ran 2 sessions. Per sitting.
To give everyone an idea, just to simplify, each game had 4 4-hour blocks that need to be filled. Mm-hmm. For Cyberpunk, Shadowscar, and Daggerheart, each of those represented a single session. For Curseborn, each of those represented 2 2-hour sessions. So we elected as a group, because it was my responsibility essentially to get everything prepped for this, much like I would Gen Con. We set it up so that each person in our group of 4 would take 2 of the games and do 2 of the 4-hour blocks for that game, and then just try to spread that out across the whole weekend. So like, all in all, it was very different for me, because I'm used to the conventions being very like where Artel is concerned, it's very rare that they're not like one of the major draws of the convention. But like, I would say at this one, like Cyberpunk drew in a ton of people. But Shadowscar kind of didn't. One of my Shadowscar games just didn't fire. We didn't have anyone show up for it.
And same for one of mine.
Yeah. So
but then
like,
again, it is a very new game compared to Cyberpunk.
It is. We only had like one day though, I think, at Gen Con this year where Shadowscar had a problem firing most of its tables. Like most of our sessions that involved it still had players, and that's the thing that I think surprised me the most, was that we only had, because even of the 2 that did fire at this convention, one of my sessions was with 2 players, a husband and a wife.
And mine was with 4.
Well, and 4 is a better number. Like 4 is more complete, because for those of you who haven't played Shadowscar, it's very like you're going team based. It's very like I do X, you do Y, they'll do Z, and together we'll figure out the way to like accomplish whatever objective we kind of have, whether that's like procuring intelligence, assassinating a target, whatever. You have to work together. Like that's kind of one of the big impetuses of the system and the way you're supposed to do things. So the fewer number of people you have at that table, the more clunky that kind of feels. Like running it for 2 didn't feel great. That was kind of new for me, is like for Artel kind of to be more of a kind of wallflower presence at the convention, especially when like this is nothing against Onyx Path, but like Curseborn to me was a game that I had never heard anyone talk about. I never heard anything about it leading into this convention until we were given the material. And I think that was one of the best attended games we had, period. Like, we had a ton of people come through for it. Even like last minute to sit down for it. Like, we had a ton of people come through.
Yeah. Then again, when it is looking to shape up to try to be a competitor to Vampire the Masquerade. I have opinions on it. I'll talk about them on a separate video, but all in all, like, running Curseborn, not bad, but did surprise me, especially with the fact that this was like really out of left field. But with a little bit of elbow grease, we were able to get it up and going, and things went well.
Yeah,
I think, did Evan have all of his fire? Well, Phantom, because I only had one that didn't fire.
I he might have had one that didn't fire, but it was at most it was one. I don't even know if he had one that didn't fire.
The one that didn't fire for me was at 10 to midnight on the Friday night, which
we kind of predict that could have happened. Yeah, like we didn't. I don't think any of us were like super shocked about that. And even then, you had someone trying to sit down last second, but it's a game you need like at least 2 people for, and that one does play a little better with only 2 people. Like, I would say Daggerheart also falls under that category. If you can run with like a very, very slim number of people and have it work fine. Of course, that was the one that I was like least surprised at, because Daggerheart is kind of the hot new kid on the block, right? And with good reason. Like I have a review that I have revised now like 3 or 4 times. The only reason I haven't put it out, because I'd intended fully to have that out before Gen Con this year. Gen Con has come and gone 2 months ago now. And like, there's still new things that I'm finding about how the game works as I play it, as I run it, that I'm like, there is so much that I have to say about this game. And like, very nearly all of it is extremely good. Like, it's an incredibly good and well-made system. Just to give like the briefest Flashpoint Reader's Digest review of that system, that game is so fun. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, and so like the fact that all of our Daggerheart, there was like one I thought was really funny. Connor was like it was the last day. It was like the one.
It was Sunday.
Yeah, it was the very last day of RinCon. Connor had the morning session that day for Daggerheart, and he's like, I don't know if we're gonna fire, man. It's 5 minutes before the game is supposed to start, and no one showed up. And it was literally like on the dot, his whole table arrives. He was like, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know.
It's a 5 stack.
I was doubting, man. I was doubting. It was so funny. So yeah, like we filled every table for Daggerheart the whole weekend. Yeah. Same with Cyberpunk. If I remember right, I think we had we didn't have any problem filling our Cyberpunk table, or at the very least getting the vast majority. I think we, on each of those tables, we might have had like 1 seat empty, but it's like trivial.
Yeah. Now, I guess you might be wondering, well, why are we going on about this? Because it's kind of weird that we did have games that didn't fire. Not for the reason of people didn't want to come play these games, but they're just... RinCon is very small. And I was expecting that, you know, there's only going to be so many people for all these tables that maybe not everyone's going to hit them.
And even before the convention fired, because I don't know if I shared this with you, Diamond, or with either of the other 2 that came with, but we were getting some like naysaying in the lead up to the convention via like some of the organizers. They were asking us like, hey, is there another scenario you could run for you know, some of these games, or is there something like you could do here to vary some of this up, because like I don't know that we're gonna have people biting on all of these, and like Vinny and I, because this was double exposure that kind of put us out there, just like they did at Gen Con. We had to tell them like, no, like this is what the publishers have given us to run. This is like what we're gonna be doing. It's okay. We understand that there may be some issues with certain ones of these firing. You know, if not all of them fire, that's okay. We just want to, you know, we need to be able to present them at your convention, and they let us do it then. But it was very much like, we going into this knew that there might be some issues with that, just because of how many sessions of the same thing that we were running. And like most other games that were run there were quite varied. Like I don't know that any other games there had multiple sessions of the same thing, except for maybe Pathfinder. I believe Pathfinder's thing might have been kind of the same, but I can't even say.
I think also Magpie.
Yeah, Magpies might have also, but even that, and like, yeah.
I guess it's one of the things that I saw with RinCon that just feels so different from like the big conventions is you get these smaller people that are just coming in to run games. not on the either on the behalf of smaller publishers, or they are running their own games, but they're not running the same scenario twice in the weekend, which is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. Also on top of that, compared to PAX or Gen Con, you're not swimming over people.
No. It was
so nice.
To give a little extra context for anyone who hasn't gone, because I think, I've had experiences pre-Gen Con, not with tabletop conventions, but with, small to... I would even say small to large, comic and anime conventions around the Phoenix area, because we have a couple. There's one that I guess has gotten really, really big, and I forget how big it's gotten because I was there when it was still a fairly small, probably a little larger than what RinCon is now, but SabotenCon was this tiny anime convention back in the day here. And over time, it has grown to become a massive contender in that space. And so when we were going to those conventions, me and my friends were going to those conventions, you'd have the small to maybe moderately sized vendor hall of, art and merch. You'd have figurines, you'd have plushies, you'd have all that stuff, right? And so that is you might get its own hall, but even that hall would be maybe the size of a single ballroom, or maybe two ballrooms put side by side. 3 at the absolute biggest, if you were going to some of the more moderately sized ones. The larger conventions like Phoenix Comic Con and stuff is closer to what Gen Con is, where you get this massive expo hall full of vendors that are all peddling their wares. They've got demos.
Commercialism in there.
Yeah, there's tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff. Banners everywhere. Some of these booths are incredibly intricately designed. You've got some of them are full blown wood sets and stuff like that they haul in. It's crazy. And PAX U is really no different.
Workshop, bringing in the Space Marine model.
Yeah,
just
just a statue. It's not even a model anymore, just a statue. Yeah, they've got a whole ass Space Marine statue. It's wild. It's so crazy what stops people pull out for that. Whereas at these smaller conventions I was talking about, you've got much more mom and pop shops coming out. They might have a banner or two. They might have a couple of very basic displays, little stacked shelves or something you set on a table to display what little wares you have for sale. But that's about it.
Independent artists.
Yeah, it's largely you have a plastic table that you cover with a tablecloth or table setting of some kind, and then lay your stuff out across it. It's very, very, very basic. And that was very much the way RinCon was.
Even then, with the merch stand, the vendor area in RinCon.
Yeah.
Fun fact: first time I've ever purchased smut. It happens to be at a convention.
That was so
from
funny.
A local artist. Fantastic. I do highly recommend checking out Mona Ventris sometime. If that is your taste. But she also does stream. Go check her out.
I just laughed so fucking hard. They had this laser this
sign.
Yeah, this wooden laser etched sign that said, when I read books, I touch my shelf. And that was so funny. And to the point that I thought that was their business name. So I actually, until Diamond just said what their name was, I did not know what their business name was, because that's the only sign they had at their table. And I'm honestly, if you're a smut vendor at a convention, that is a great name for your business. I'm not even mad.
Yeah,
I was laughing my ass off. It was great. No, and they were really fun to talk to as well.
Oh yeah. Also, like getting to see some of the local artisans of Tucson as well. It just they had all sorts of good stuff that was put out there. It's not like what I've seen at some of the other bigger cons with some people having like really like cheap little stuff put out there, but it's like actual like good stuff. Like the chainmail artists. Like, oh my goodness, that jewelry looked so good.
Yeah, there was a lot more like artsy, craftsy kind of stuff that like. Not to say that those don't exist at these larger conventions, but they're like they're much more focused into a given niche because like they are catering almost exclusively to tabletop and like nothing else. And so they are like every year at Gen Con, I'll notice like at Chaosium's booth, they'll have a couple of like copies of some of the Lovecraft stories that they sell there in addition to their game books and stuff like that. And there are some bits of art mixed in with like the dice vendors and stuff like that. But that's what I mean. It's like very niche. Whereas here it was more like the art kind of came first. The niche sort of followed halfway, but it was very much like we had like a couple of dice vendors. There was like a small games and card shop that was there. There was Magpie. There was like a massive collection of board games at one of these vendors. And then there was the aforementioned bookshop that specialized in smut. And that was it. Like those were the vendors. That's all there was. And like
she's live right now. I'm gonna send her a shout out at
random.
But there you go. One of the things that I did find, though, with the small cons, the people that I felt that you could really like connect more to like the convention itself in that case, instead of like just kind of swimming around amongst the crowd.
Absolutely.
And I was able to make some connections, including with a Instagram influencer. Streamer influencer runs a channel and a server called Women Play D&D, and I have been actually able to connect with these folks, as compared to the other conventions, this place had a women's space, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to go in there, because I've been in places where that's a bit of a froggy situation, but they're like, no, come in.
No.
I will admit, it's the first time I have ever played 5e in years, and I sat down to play Barbie 5e with Becca Bix and a bunch of other lovely folks. It was a great time. It was absolutely silly adventure to get the weekend off to a great start, because like I literally got done making sure that the lads got all their gear taken care of, and just the GM's out and about. Becca, and she's like, do you want to come play Barbie 5e? I'm like, am I busy? No, I don't think I'm busy. That's some of the stuff that I like with smaller cons, because even like with my college con, the speakers can connect to the crowd in a way that it's not you talking to the mass. You are talking to a group of individuals, and you're able to connect with all of them. In fact, you may see these people from year to year.
Right.
Or even in town. In the case of those that might be down in Tucson.
Yeah. And like if you were local to Arizona, you probably would meet these people, because we had about I would say, and you can tell me if yours was different than mine here where the experience was concerned, but like I feel as though we encountered about a 50-50 split of people who were from like the Tucson area versus like the Phoenix area, because like we had like almost as many people I met personally that had come down for the weekend, or like the real mad lads that were doing the commute each way, which is like, for those of you who don't live in Arizona, you'll to make you aware, it's like 2 hours between Tucson and Phoenix, depending on where within the Phoenix metro area you're coming from. It's roughly 2 hours, give or take. And so it's like there was one guy we met that was like, oh, I might not be here that early for the start because like I've got to go back up to Phoenix tonight and then I'm coming back down here tomorrow. And I'm like, dude, like we're staying at a hotel. This, like, get yourself a room or something for the weekend. That is so far to drive. It's so much driving. Because they were coming for the whole weekend. It was wild.
And then there was also the like I ran into two improv comedians that are from like you know like our side of the valley, and it's like, oh my goodness, you guys are like right next door.
Yeah, when we talk to them, they're like, yeah, this is where we're from. Like, that's like 10 minutes from my house. That's crazy. Like, yeah, it's really, it was interesting. Well, and something I know we're going to look into, and this is only very briefly tangenting off of RinCon itself, but we had MaricopaCon mentioned several times. Mm-hmm. It sounds like that happens shortly following Gen Con each year. And for reference, Maricopa County is the county that Phoenix is in. So if it's MaricopaCon, it means it's probably even more in my backyard than the one down in Tucson is. And Tucson is, like I said, like a short afternoon's drive. It's not long to get there.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not somewhere that you'd want to be commuting back and forth to if you lived in Phoenix, if you could help it. So like knowing that there is a convention in my backyard, even for this sort of thing, I did not know these existed in my backyard until this year. And I have lived in Phoenix or like the surrounding area for the last almost 20 years of my life. So like, that's shocking to me that it's been like that long and I did not know that some of these were there, because it's not like RinCon is that new of a convention. I think this is like their 10th year or something like that. Or no, this was their 5th year. That's what I'm mixing two things up. This was their 5th year. This is the 5th annual RinCon. So yeah, it's been interesting. It's been interesting kind of learning about the smaller side of that space, just because we have so much time and experience that we've spent, especially for me, because I've got like a year on Diamond where the convention space is concerned.
Yeah, like in my experience started off GMing at the little college conventions.
Yeah, and it's so wild understanding like how in the deep end like I started, because I'd never done tabletop conventions before my first Gen Con. Mm-hmm. And that was like, you're going to go in on the deep end, buddy. Here you go. Woo! And just like throw you in. I don't regret that. I have loved working the large conventions. I deeply enjoy them. But yeah, it was definitely almost like it was a culture shock in a way that was very manageable. Like, it's weird when you think of culture shock, you think of, oh my God, it's so overwhelming. Oh my God, there's so much to see and do and whatever. Or like so much I need to now learn about and like learn to understand and comprehend. This was like culture shock in reverse. It's like, holy shit, this is so manageable. This is so much easier. Holy fuck. I didn't know this was possible.
Like, oh, this is a thing. Oh my God.
Yeah, like, oh wow, you could have a small convention and have it feel like nice and cozy and not like overwhelming, and yet share enough in common with the stuff we have done to not feel unfamiliar. Whoa, that's so weird. Yeah,
like literally being asked by like some of the other ladies though, it was just like, hey, are you going to be here next year? If so, would you be interested in running games next year?
Or like a panel or something like
the women's space.
Yeah.
And, heck, I mean, there's even, the thought that maybe we do a stage from...
Yeah, I would need to, because this is the thing about the way we run the podcast. We're very off the cuff. We're just like, whatever. We're gonna talk about X and Y this week as our topics are like the most organized I think we ever get with the way we run things is like, we're going to interview a person, right? Whether that's like Peter, like we had a few weeks ago, or like any of the members of the Artel staff, or like on the kind of random occasion that we've interviewed people like Tomas, who aren't as affiliated with like exactly what we do, but they're close enough in the circle that we're like, yeah, let's talk with them. Let's see what we get as far as like an idea of like what they do and how they fit into kind of the way we do things. It's almost always like the interviews are, we get a Google Doc, we write down questions, like usually over the course of a week or two tops before, and then like sort of use that as our guideline. And otherwise it's very much like we're just doing stuff. So if we had a panel or something, it'd be
also if
wild.
If what's the word? If a DLC drops, we tend to plan around that as well.
I mean, but, as much as we just say, so we're doing that this week is one of the topics. Yeah, it's barely a plan. It's just like, we're going to talk about that, and maybe if it's like a fairly comprehensive DLC, we might go into how we want to cover it structurally. Yeah, but like that's a big if. Like, so that's the only thing where I'm like, God, how would we do a stage or like a show from a convention? That's a different sort of way of doing it that I mean, like, we're capable of pulling it off. I just don't know how I do it off the rip.
It's a beast that I'm looking, as I want to lean, like, yes, I do a lot of performance, but like, I want to do a little media work. And, it's just like, maybe we can make it work. If it's something that we can't do, it's something we can't do. But, I don't know, it would be kind of sick. I don't know, one day down the road, we're, we get a little gray in our hair, and now we're running a stage at PAX or Gen Con talking about a old Dark Future role-playing game that's now being replaced by the third iteration of the fourth iteration of Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Cyberpunk 2100 or some shit. Yeah, no, that's where like I see the big thing for me is like, to me that's just another kind of performance, and that's where I'm kind of like performing that way is I don't know. It's just different. It's very more likely what I would like to do if I got a stage at a convention like that is to gather a crew together and say, okay, guys, we are going to do a live actual play or something. Because that is where I am the most comfortable. And we could do some zany shit. Like, I know so many people, especially if it's a local con. I have so many local friends that are like, I mean, and most of us were at this convention. Like, Connor, Evan, like, those guys are, like, they've been part of my RPG group forever. And there are several others here that I could easily bring in. So is Red Cyberpunk V4, Cyberpunk V3 Redux?
Oh, no.
That is a fascinating question. That, I suppose, is what do you consider a Cyberpunk V whatever, right? Because, like, I think technically 2020 was called the second edition of the game. So by extension, Red is kind of fourth edition, I think. 3 didn't really take off. It kind of stalled. So, like, I don't know. Is Red, the question then becomes, is Red its own? Well, Red kind of has to be its own edition. It's then, where does 3 fit in? Is 3 like 2.5 or is it third edition? Like, what do you, how do you do that in continuity? I don't know that I'm qualified to make such an assertion, I'll be honest. I don't.
That's gonna be a Jay Gray question.
That's kind of categorical, and I don't really dig I don't really dig that deep into the categorical of that. It's Red. It is Red. Like, that's all I need to know. They said V3 wasn't canon. Exactly. That's where I'm like, if they're taking that out of their own continuity, I don't know. Technically, you can still buy it. Like, so it's not gone. Like, it's not banished to the Shadow Realm or anything.
Yeah. And there is stuff from V3 that's showing up in Red.
Yeah, like they use it referentially, and it can be a source book just like anything from 2020 can be at this point. Yeah. As could Cyber Generation stuff too. So it's like you have to kind of just, I don't know. They don't do the edition thing like D&D does, or Pathfinder, or Vampire, or whatever. Like there's tons of games that like say this is the Xth edition of our game, and I'm like, Cyberpunk's never really done that. They've just kind of said here's where we are in the timeline. So yeah, I didn't think Cyber Generation was that. Cyber Generation isn't an edition of Cyberpunk. It just was it's kind of like
supplement?
No, because it was its own system. I'm trying to think. There's it was a spin-off. It was a spin-off that was its own thing. Like if Cyberpunk is your main TV drama, whatever, then Cyber Generation was kind of the weird spin-off that they had like little inklings that you could kind of play off into in 2020, and V3 kind of coexisted within that weird liminal space that kind of created. But yeah, it's yeah.
Getting back over though to RinCon and Con. So RinCon itself, we didn't have like a lot of news to report from that end. Outside the fact that apparently I was a little late to the jump that Shadow Scars Kickstarter was filled in 2 days, like just before RinCon.
Yes, it was.
So that was insane. But also, of course, just as a note, halfway through here on the latter half of the show, Double Exposure, thanks so much for sending us out on these many different excursions. It's been it may have been off to a little bit of a rocky start, but things are good this year. Hopefully I don't have any more organs that gotta get pulled out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, ultimately, so the behind the scenes on that side of it is kind of something that like Double Exposure wanted to try out essentially. So I appreciate Davini and the rest of the team there. Like, thank you for trusting all of us, and especially me for being the one to kind of organize. Like, thank you for believing in that side of things, that we could accomplish such a thing. Because they bought our hotel. They literally, if we need supplies of any kind, like there was for Curseborn, I don't have that many D10s. Because all the games that I've played in the past have not been D10 dice pool. They've been either D6 dice pool or usable, like you need a set of either set of staring polyhedrals, or like in the case of like Witcher and Cyberpunk, you need like D10s and a ton of D6s. So like very, very, very like easily found stuff if you've done any tabletop RPGs. So like when I need to buy like a set of 50, it was like 5 sets of 10 in a single bag that some seller on Amazon was selling this for like $13, and I'm like, done, easy, I'll buy them. Like making sure we had all that covered, all the materials were covered, like that was really, really awesome to like be able to be part of that and to do that. So thank you guys for trusting and putting your faith in us, because that was it was very, very cool to be in that kind of creative control for our presence at a convention and like be representative of that. So thank you.
Now, looking at RinCon compared to the other giants, the opportunities that RinCon had provided us, like literally just having like in-house meals, that is something huge that we kind of got the scoop on that. If I'm correct, because they had ordered the quote-unquote banquet, it gave them a discount to be able to run the show a little bit cheaper there at
it was just casino. It made things more affordable, I think. But yeah, ultimately, just the way they have arranged everything there was very, it was very cool. Because, like, obviously at Gen Con and PAX U, there is, like, convention food vendors there. Like, where you can walk up and buy, like, hot dogs or, like, a sandwich or, you know, whatever. But, like, the way they effectively had set it up was, like, they just had the convention catering bring down food for every meal from breakfast to dinner. Even, like, late at night, they had pizza that you could just buy through them, which was, like, very cool. But they would sell in advance. Like, for Diamond and I, we bought, there was, like,
$180.
Well, for the two of us, yeah, it was 100. It was 90 a person. And it was, like, you got a ticket for every meal that you could potentially eat while you were at the convention. And when you turn that in, it was literally, you got, like, an entree, a side, and a drink for that ticket. And, like, it was really funny when, like, because I told the whole crew, like, hey guys, get these. Like, these are going to be really cheap and it's going to be really convenient. And then we don't have to, like, even leave the convention to, like, go get food or whatever. Because even though we're, like, at a casino, so, like, there's plenty of restaurants in there, like, this will make it so we don't have to worry about that. And Diamond and I'm like, we live together, so it's easy for me to just be like, Diamond, this is what we're going to do, right? And she was like, yeah, just get me mine. We'll worry about the payment back, whatever, in the aftermath. And so we figured that out. And the other two, I'm like, Connor, Evan, like, make sure you get these. They didn't. And then I could see exactly how much each meal would have cost. You have to buy each part of that. Yeah, it was like $20. That was much closer to like what Gen Con or PAX U would charge. And I was like, whoa, okay, well, that was, thank God I thought ahead. Because, yeah, like, well, we could see the menu and prices ahead of time, too. And I'm like, this could get expensive, guys. You should probably buy it now. Like, just saying.
I can kind of remember that night, though, because, and also, if you're looking for good tequila down by the border, expect $120 a shot. I did not buy said shot of tequila.
That is top shelf tequila by the border. Top shelf is $120. Yeah, no, that's...
Yeah.
But that's... I mean, it's like any fine spirit. It's like, you want the best whiskey, you want the best, you know, vodkas or whatever. You're going to pay for it. And it's not like just the like... Yeah, we have gold leaf in there or whatever. It's like, yeah, you want high quality stuff. That's what it costs.
And you know, that moment there really made me think, dang, I'm really not charging my players enough at the bar.
I mean,
yeah, it's gonna be 100 eddies a shot.
I mean, if you're serving them, what would probably be high quality alcohol during the time of the Red, most of that stuff is not real alcohol, right? Even the mid to top shelf stuff is like, at best, you might have something approaching like real quality. Like for 100 a shot, you're probably drinking some form of real alcohol that's made with actual organic stuff, right? Like it's actual whiskey or actual tequila or whatever made out of like agave or out of like corn respectively. But like it even gets pointed out, like when you find a bottle in one of the adventures in Tales, find a bottle of like real vodka
for 500
that
eddies.
Stuff's worth 500 eddies for that bottle, which is like, that's crazy how expensive that is because real vodka is so rare. So like, that's kind of the way I look at it. Because if you look at like a standard drink at a good, low, and like high quality bar, they say I think a standard drink at like an exec bar is 500, or not 500, 50 eddies. So like you can extrapolate from there. Like that is your average drink is going to be 50 eddies at an exec bar. You can go way up above that if you have something really impressive.
Yeah. And like, you know, kind of having that moment, like whenever we went out drinking, you know, Yeah, this is some of the other stuff with conventions that, you know, like every once in a while, I like to go out and have a drink of some of the local stuff. And like Gen Con and PAX, you know, I would have some of the local brew, and you know, it'd run somewhere between $15-$20. Now, Evan ended up getting me like a $14 shot of tequila.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting an extra large pizza for $20, and all I remember is that was that for the rest of that week, the rest of that night. I don't remember anything else afterwards. Yeah, tequila is not something I can drink often or well. I need friends with me.
Yeah.
But like with Gen Con and PAX, the area prepares for how much is going on. Like, people know it's coming.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that, like, downtown Indianapolis, for that entire weekend, they are ready for Gen Con to come in.
They've got, like, even as far as the airport itself, like, when you arrive, there are banners welcoming you to Gen Con at the airport as you're walking out of the terminal. And like,
even when I drove into the city, when I did my road trip, there were billboards saying welcome to Gen Con.
Yep. Like, that is, I mean, for that it makes sense because it's the largest convention of its kind in the country.
Yep.
And so like, I will say, I think PAX U doesn't feel quite that crazy by comparison, because it doesn't really, like, when I fly in for PAX Unplugged, that none of that is in like the Philadelphia airport. And like the local streets and stuff don't have banners and things, so it's definitely a little more understated. It's like once you're at the convention hall itself, sure, stuff is everywhere, but that's kind of normal for event venues, right? They're going to advertise what they've got going on. And so it's like, by extension though, RinCon was way understated. Like, very much like you walk into the convention area, which is literally like one small part, like this one small corner of the overall casino that this took place in. And there's like a very small little reception check-in kind of area. And like, then you've got like,
it's like 2 tables,
a couple of ballrooms that have been opened up together that make up like a massive free play area and the vendor hall put together. And then there's a couple of ballrooms at the very back. Not even ballrooms, they're like conference rooms at the very back, where they have the tables for the actual like tabletop games, like where we were running. And that was kind of
the panel stage was like a curtained off area that was like right next to Giant Games.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that going on, and I liked it. I really liked having that smaller, easier to navigate area compared to, you know, every day us having to get up to hike across, you know, the convention area that is Gen Con to get to our locations last year. I can't really say too much for Gen Con 2025.
This year was really definitely more accessible for the volunteer side of it, at least. That said, well, no, Gen Con just it's a hydra of like, you've got 5 or 6, I think it might even be as many as 7 different hotels, plus the center itself that serves as host space to run panels. And what is it? You've got panels. You've
Lucas
got
Oil Stadium as well.
Like there's literally just like you got the stadium, the center, and like 7 hotels around it that all play host to games and spaces for like everything. And so like, to say like it is convenient For the convention, you have to really contextualize what convenience for whom are we talking about. Like, if you're one of the con goers, the more central it gets, the better. Because like I've been there where I'm like, I look at them like, oh yeah, I've got like an event coming up in half an hour. It'll be like right along here probably. And you don't notice until too late that it's like, no, that's in the JW Marriott. You have to go like all the way out that way to get to your next event. Like that game you want to go attend, it's all the way in a corner on the far end of the convention from where you currently are. And that's kind of where I'm like, the Hyatt where we were set up this year was very much like, if I had been at the center of the con and need to go out to find the game, you're coming out a ways to get to where we are. But if you are one of the GMs, or by total serendipity, you are staying in the Hyatt like we were as the game runners, this is hella convenient. You just ride the elevator down and we're on like the second level. Awesome. Just walk out and you're there.
Yeah.
And so like, from that perspective, to be a runner was crazy good. Like that was so convenient. But like, if you were an attendee and you're coming to the main con center itself and like going to the expo hall as your center of like what you're doing and then coming out to a game, like this would have not been nearly as convenient for all those people. Because every time I had to run back and forth between those places, it's like a 15 or 20 minute walk to like go back and forth between that and the main body of the convention. Say nothing of if you're coming from the opposite side, one of those other hotels connected. Like that could have been a half hour or more.
During Gen Con 2024, when we had to go down there to the convention hall, because like when I talk about convenience, I'm talking about like being in the actual hall itself.
Right.
Like as soon as you got on to where RinCon was, literally everything was within a 5-minute walk. But like Gen Con, I had to give myself a 20-minute window to get anywhere.
Yes. Yeah. And the same,
I think I was 5 minutes early.
The same if we weren't so focused when we volunteered at PAX U the last couple of times that like, because we spend all our time working for Artal in that way. We spent all of the last 2 years that we've done it, or that, you know, I did it 1 year and then Diamond joined me for the second year I did it. All your time is spent in the expo hall itself, like just doing stuff at the booth. We didn't run games either of those years. So it was like...
we ran games...
but not the same way that we would at...
Oh, not like the 4-hour games.
Right, yeah. And we weren't running them in their own independent space. They were just part of the booth when we ran demos at PAX. Yeah. But if you were going out to panels or games or doing any of that outside of the vendor hall, like PAX has just as easily got a chance of being like, you're going out, you're doing stuff. You just aren't going to nearby hotels. So on that sense, it condenses it slightly. Yeah. Because you're within the expo hall still, somewhere, right? Or the convention center, rather.
30-minute walk to get to the convention, though.
For where we were staying, because we kind of got added in late for the bulk of what we were doing. If that plan had been done a little more gracefully, we would have been right across the street. Because that's even like Lisa Ponsmith told us, like that's where she wanted to have us. It just didn't work out because all the rooms were sold out. So it was like we ended up getting where we could get, and it was still walking distance, but yeah, it was a long walk.
So I suppose to kind of wrap things up here, I do think where Gen Con and PAX U, they have like really some strong marketing presence for the publishers out there. With RinCon and some of the smaller conventions like the ones that my college used to throw on, it was very much introducing people to games, introducing people to new stuff and, you know, various, you know, nerddom.
It's more about the like micro communities that make it up, instead of it being about like the publishers, the people who make the games. And that's very true.
Well, it was also kind of neat. They did the Italian shaved. What's the name of it?
EGs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's EGs. Apparently, they do that every year on Saturday night. So that's very nice. Yeah. Okay, so I suppose just as one final note, because Artal has finally announced it, I can I could be frank about it. I will not be attending PAX Unplugged this year because I do not have a sponsor to go, and honestly, my efforts are probably going to have to be better put elsewhere at this current time.
Yeah, we've always gone. So when I've always gone at the at least like semi-sponsorship of Artal, or I mean, it's pretty much only been Artal to this point. Like, obviously, with the last year or so, putting me more closely in contact with double exposure, that might change in the future. But like, at least for this year, Artal, because they are reducing their exposure pretty much entirely to Jay and Rob going. And even it's not like they've got a booth. It's not like they've got anything. They're just going to be there.
They're only doing business.
So it's going to be one of those things where like, we won't be there solely because like, we normally go to help. And it's a lot. If you want to attend those conventions as a straight attendee, in the sense that you're paying for your hotel, you're paying for your flight, you're paying for your food, you're paying for every step of that, like that gets really expensive really fast. And I ain't got that kind of money either to Diamond. So yeah, we're gonna be sitting this year out. We should be back next year, one way or another.
Hopefully.
Like I'm hoping if Artel shows up, we'll definitely be there. Because like I said, I'm getting a little more involved with double exposure here. To say very little about how, but rest assured, I'm getting more involved with double exposure. There's some likelihood that even if Artel doesn't show up, I at the very least will be there. And that might mean that I'll be tapping other local people, and Diamond could easily be among that. So like one way or another, we probably will be back next year. It just will depend how and where and what we're doing. But yeah, that is definitely something worth mentioning.
Yeah. So what I recommend as just takeaway as we wrap up this video, go check out your local conventions. Mm-hmm. Seriously, go do it. Like, you're gonna find interesting people. You might find local talents that you didn't realize, oh, they're actually in my area. And who knows? You might discover some new friends along the way, or even a new table.
Yep.
And with that, if you click on the link below in the description, you'll be going to part 2 of today's episode, where we will be talking. Well, Emmerron's bringing an interesting topic that I am going to need some prompting on to understand what we got going, but it sounds interesting.
I will lead that discussion happily.
That being said, check out your local conventions. We'll see you guys soon. Maybe we'll be live somewhere down the road. You don't know. Nor do we. It'll happen if it happens. But I'm Diamond Dust.
And I'm Emmerron.
And I'll see you on the other half. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.